Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are checking out Mushi-shi episode 22, and I'm gonna be honest, the last episode scared me a little bit with the changelings. So this one is a shrine in the sea. Hopefully that'll be nice. Shrines seem like a more chill place than whatever was going on in the last episode, which I will continue to be freaked out by, even though it might be one of my favorite episodes. Still, I like this different direction hopefully we're going in. In 3, 2, 1, go. It's just nice when it starts off with the peaceful opener and I can just chill for like a second. You know what I mean? Before they possibly make me question my existence. Who knows? I mean, y'all probably do. I'm gonna be honest, I might miss this series once I'm done. I know that there's like another season. There's more stuff after this. But I'm not sure how quickly I'm gonna get to all of it. Given that there's so many other things. It's been nice though. Most of the time. When they aren't freaking me out. I am interested though still to see how we're gonna end the season. Because it is very episodic. And I don't think we're gonna end on like a cliffhanger. It just doesn't have that vibe for the show. But I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna focus on for the end of it. Like it could just kind of end, but it'd be nice if we had something that kind of pulled it all together with like Ginkgo maybe, because we do have a few like recurring characters, or at least characters we know that he's seen multiple times, right? I don't know. Last time we had a boat, it was with the weird fog. Talking about like Born Again. Is that a body? Why are we dumping a body in the water? Remember when I went into this and I was like, maybe a shrine is good because it'll be peaceful? Why are we dumping a body? Assuming we're scavenging for something in the reefs. I guess if like a stranger showed up in a small town, there would be like lots of gossip, wouldn't there? Regardless of like him not asking weird questions. You are patient, to be fair. He has like left and come back like a year later to check up on things, or like to see if he can deal with a Mushi now, right? So like we know he's patient if nothing else. Yeah, we saw that before, the like purple. He's like, that's good to know. I like the casual's like, yeah. You know, you were the one exploring out in the water. I mean, I feel like given Ginkgo's line of work, snakes might be the least of his worries. Is that the other person that we lost at the beginning? Given the name? Mana? I wonder if, because we're saying shrine, if it's almost like a, I don't know, sacrifice? We've seen some of that, where it's like some people have to just vanish or be offered up, right? In like the smaller towns. No, she's just asking out of random curiosity. Yeah, it has something to do with the rock. The rock, I'm assuming, is like the shrine in question. Much like your daughter? Yeah. Oh, I wasn't expecting it to be of your mother, of all people. It makes sense to the grandfather then to be like, you're this person because it'd be his daughter or his wife. Family tree. So you were the voice at the beginning, I'm assuming? And is that why you were dying, so we dumped you? Interesting. That it's not even like a firm belief of like, I'm definitely going to come back, right? It's, I want the final moments that I experience to at least have the possibility that I can come back. It's a lot sadder than I was expecting. Especially since it's like also kind of choosing not only where you die, but like how you die, right? It's really weird for you to pressure her to have a child. I mean, he didn't keep that promise. It's a lot of responsibility. Like to agree to have a child at all, right? But then you have all the layers of like going through grief of like losing a parent who seemed to be like ill before it happened. And then there's so much going on. Yeah, I was gonna say, who do we have the child with if it wasn't something supernatural, spiritual? Look, we had creepy children the last one that weren't actually the children. I mean, maybe she does. I know it's like, who did we have the child with though? So there's like some supernatural elements, but like sometimes kids just look like their grandparents. It would be so difficult though, like if you're still kind of going through the grieving process and then your child looks a lot like the person you're grieving. And then again, like I was kind of saying in the last episode, like it adds an extra layer of conflict to it because it's like that's your child though, right? The almost died is strange. Weird. Weird to be like you waited 20 years to marry someone. You know, like the concept of like having someone like have your child, like have a child so that you can marry them is weird. But it does imply that there are multiple of these creatures in this village. And what do you like if we like reverse something, is it going to have them all disappear? See, he's patient. He's like, I'll stick it out. Interesting too that we have like the purple and then we have like blue is kind of associated with the ocean and then we had like the red like bead things. Eggs, perhaps? We're talking about like fish, aquatic imagery. I don't trust anything that says paradise. Would be unsettling. Yeah. Like I said, confusing if you're trying to like grieve. Yeah. Like you're trying to grieve and you're like, oh, this is so much like the person that I'm grieving, so I can't move on, right? But I also can't accept that this is like this person I lost coming back to me. But I also can't accept them as like just my child. Okay, those are the things we took before. But what are they? And how do they know which person to be copying? Please tell me you don't just swallow one. What happens if someone who cannot have children swallows one of these? Just wondering. Yeah, I mean, I assumed that they were going to be Mushi related. How do you know which one though? Like, how does it know like which person it could be? Other than like, I guess, supernatural spiritual things. She has like a different life, right, than your mom did. Right? Like looking like someone isn't actually being them, right? It's all the experiences that you have as well. You can't just like copy the appearance and like be the same person. Give them different circumstances they grew up in, and they're going to be different people. I mean, I get that it's probably similar. I'm assuming she grew up on this island, but like still. Yeah, we got that whole I attract Mushi thing. And also like how does he just like exist here without trying to like solve the mystery, right? And like I said, if you reverse something, will everyone disappear who is like brought back? That seems like a weird cycle to get stuck in. I was wondering that. I'm like, do the copies, are they capable of having kids? And then it's just an endless cycle? Uh-oh. Then we're stuck here. We're not great at leaving well enough alone. For all of Ginkgo's patience, he is not good at like not figuring out how something works. Isn't this the story that her mom told? Yeah. It was easier when she's like, this is my child. That is like physically like my mother, but it's not like, it's not the same. It's a lot harder when you're like, I think that this is something perhaps against the natural cycle of things, right? And again, difficult if you're like, this isn't my child. I have a bad feeling about you going and tying this boat up next to stormy seas like that. I get that a boat is probably important in a village like this, but I do appreciate that like Ginkgo's response was there to like completely stop her. It was like, I'll go with you because that's gonna be safer. You're gonna do it anyway. Yeah, I was gonna say, why are we over there? If not because we were kind of pulled there. Like if someone doesn't die or is like offered up, like I was kind of saying before, of like a sacrifice, are the Mushi gonna take it into their own hands? And it seems like yes, to some extent. Which might be why we got the storm, right? Like stormy waters, because they're like, we need someone. I'm assuming there's some reason for why the Mushi would be doing this, right? It's always something that's like survival to like have children or like, you know, food or energy or whatever, right? Like there's always some reason for Mushi being involved. Dang it, Ginkgo. You better not get reborn by somebody. Cool effect on the voice. How would that work if you're like, you know, it's not exactly like your average person. You don't remember. You've already been reborn. Right? Like, We already had like our memory wiped, and then we were reborn as like Ginkgo. I was gonna say, like, would they want Ginkgo? Because he's not the right kind of person, right? But then also, would they want Isana? Because Isana's already like a copy. Would it count? Or is it just because like the storm? Like it's gotten late enough in the day or the night that they let them go. I don't know, probably not have answers. They usually leave it a little bit open to interpretation. Is it the light, maybe? Like they glow? Does it have something to do with light? Because we have the moon as well. Oh. It's not unsettling. Uh-huh. Because he likes to save people. But it wouldn't have been the same. Aww. It's awfully sweet. I wonder if, like, she won't, like, Mio won't want to be reborn then. Later in life, right? Knowing what's gonna happen and also just sort of feeling like there's a cycle to life and it's a little bit unnatural to, like, or it is unnatural to, like, break that cycle, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all kind of loops back to like I was saying at the beginning. Yeah, like it when I was talking about mana at the beginning, where I was like, I feel like it's not just about believing like blindly, oh, I can come back if I go to these rocks, right, at my final moments. And there's proof of that, obviously, like in this town, but it wasn't even about literally wanting to come back. It was almost like the comfort of having faith that there was a possibility of that happening, of being like, I'm not going to completely leave behind like my family. And even with the people in the town, like I was saying, just because someone looks like the person that you lost doesn't mean that they're that person, right? Because they're going to have different experiences. They're going to be raised by different people. They're going to be living in a different time period. Maybe I'm just saying this as myself, but like the time that my mom grew up is different than the time that I grew up in, right? Like my parents have very different experiences in their childhood than I do just because of time passing. It wouldn't be the same upbringing if they were to like be a kid now. Like the kids that exist right now are having a different childhood and existence than I did. So I think that is also part of the complications of this. Is, yeah, you can be like, oh, these people are coming back to us, right? They're having another life, which again, in Japanese culture, reincarnation is something that definitely comes up. So it's wrapped up in some of that. There's already kind of priming for that to be a belief, but then also it isn't really them though. And like I was saying, I'm like, it's weird that you wanted your wife to come back and then you waited 20 years to marry her. Weird, right? Because marrying a 20-year-old when you're like at least at that point, I'm gonna assume like looking at, if you're not 40 already, you're like looking at it because you were married before. So that's weird anyway. And then to watch a child be raised from birth with the specific purpose of marrying you, it's weird. Right? Any angle you look at and be like, oh, because it's my wife coming back to me. It's not, though. It's not. It's someone else. And it's weird that we're doing this. it's again, like even the whole with Mio of this is both someone who looks like my mother and everyone is telling me like this is your mother being reborn and coming back to you, but it's also my child, right? This is my daughter. So then we've got a weird dynamic. Is this my mother? Is it my daughter? Like, I can't really see this person as my daughter, even though I want to, because there's that maternal instinct there, but I can't fully see it because every day they look more and more like my mom. And then also there's this added element of knowing that there's something otherworldly happening here, right? Are they human? Are they not? All of the kind of inner conflict of that, like, what does it mean to break that cycle? Because for all of Japanese culture having this idea of like reincarnation and everything, part of that is that you go through the cycle, and then because of how you've lived your life, that dictates how you go into the next one. And it's not that you're being like an exact copy of yourself in every iteration. It's like your soul learns things, and then in the next life you get to have, you're someone else, because you're adding to your kind of soul's knowledge and experience with each of those lifetimes. That's not the same as like a carbon copy of the person who already existed, and then all the pressures that come along with that, right? Like even Mio's father definitely being like, oh, this is my wife coming back to me, which again, already weird vibes with that, to be like both the grandfather and seeing this person as like your wife. Don't like how that makes me feel. But again, getting at the end of the episode of Ginkgo being like, it's not just about actually having the option of coming back. It's like the peace of mind that you have with the possibility. And I think that comes with a lot of belief systems of what happens after death, is like a lot of that is like reassurance. The idea that there will be something after death makes us feel better. So it's why there's so many different belief systems that are like about what that process is going to be. There's so many different religions and beliefs that have entire sections that are about like, what does it mean after death and the existence of there being an after death, because it comforts us. I think that there's so many complex things in this one that I wasn't quite ready for, but you know what? It didn't freak me out in the same way as the last episode did, because we didn't have any changelings. So at least there's that. Nobody burned down any houses and then melted into, there was a whole thing. Does Ginkgo still have that one in a jar or a tube or whatever? Just like hanging out. Anyway, I think it is really interesting though to have the one scene with Ginkgo when he was in the water and he was talking about, is this how it ends? Like, and I get reborn again, because like I said, we already had a moment like that where he was like reborn. I also think it's interesting with the water imagery with all of that too, because of like embryo and like womb and all of that. Anyway, there's so many things that I could pull apart in this, which is like every Mushi-shi episode, but I feel like maybe I touched on like the majority of what I wanted to say, but I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this playlist to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so next time I post a Mushi-shi reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.